return to the surface, and thank you for choosing Vault-Tec.
I have a theory that I've been working on. It's about the main storyline in this game. And I could definitely use input from people that are a lot smarter with this game than I am. And with all the ins and outs, digging through files and such. So, we know when we leave Vault 111, anybody that's did one playthrough knows that these crows are the eyes of the Institute. Okay, now we understand that because Father is actually the one that released us. So, of course he's going to watch us. Now, everybody knows about the hill. You boogie on up there. So, also, somebody's been sitting here watching Vault 111. Everybody knows it's, of course, the railroad. Whether it's Deacon or not, it's the general consensus is Deacon was sitting here watching Vault 111. But things that I've not found clarity on. A question here is, we're going to assume it's Deacon. Why was he sitting here? Somebody had to tip him off that the Institute was doing something with Vault 111. I mean, there's a couple arguments that can be made. I think the most feasible would be that one of the synths that they rescued informed them somehow of something to do with Vault 111. Or could it have been Liam? But I don't think it would have been him. Personally, I don't think it would have been. But somehow, somebody gave Deacon information on the Institute messing with Vault 111. Now with that, as the player, we're already under the scrutiny of two different factions as soon as we're released from the vault. Something else that's kind of bothering me, and it has to do with Codsworth. Now you could call it, oh, it's just a tutorial or what have you. But I think Codsworth is actually part of this. And I'll explain. When he's asked about, or when you ask him, it just says 200 years. And he says it's been a bit over 210. He said, given for dings to the old chronometer. But he's not dented. I think he was kind of hacked a little bit and doesn't know it. I think it was just a slight hack. And for this one reason only, to push us towards Concord. And actually to pick up Dogmeat. Which I will say beyond a shadow of a doubt, in my eyes, 100,000%, the dog is either cyborg or it's a total synth. Because he's your bestest spy ever. And we'll get into more of that in a minute. But you're being forced to go this way. So, we know that Father released us because he had some twisted idea in his head. I kind of want to avoid the dog right now here. But he has this twisted idea. He just wants to see what would happen to either of his parents if they could survive in this. Like, we're a science experiment, not his parents. Okay, but the thing is, I never see anybody, and I watched a lot of videos, I really did. I tried to figure this out. Nobody talks about this. Now somebody is sitting here watching a red rocket. You look around, there's definitely no railroad signs. It's not the railroad. And one thing that I think gives it away, I mean, there's nothing really here that gives it away, just a toolbox and an ammo box. But I think the ashtray gives it away. Kind of follow me on this. I think Kellogg was sitting here. And the reason he was sitting here watching the red rocket was to make sure that we, once released, listened to Codsworth and followed this route and picked up the dog. We pick up dog meat. He was sitting here to make sure that we got dog meat as our companion. Now, that gives the Institute not only eyes to everything we do, but ears. And they know exactly where we are at all times. So this is where my theory kind of gets a little crazy. But I'm looking at the entire main storyline. So we wind up picking up the pooch and go on our merry way down into Concord. I believe that once he was happy that we had the dog, that Kellogg took off down this area, went kind of in the side area there, and told the raiders to commence their attack on Preston. So Father could see how we would respond to that. Because we know down in here, about straight ahead of us, I'm going to run down there, but straight ahead of us, you know, we run into more crows on the way down there. And right in the path that we would follow. Even a new player would follow that path in. So there's that. Could Kellogg have actually been responsible for the death of the Brahmin down here? Because we get attacked there. You know, we get attacked by mole rats up here, and then we get attacked there. And now we're going in to fight actual humans in the city. So now I got to kind of back up a little bit. Let's go to the Quincy Massacre. I believe, and I know part of the pre-story where the Institute kind of stopped everybody from getting together and forming a government. They pretty much wiped everybody out to keep everybody separated, you know, divide and conquer. But I believe the Institute was behind the fall of the Minutemen down there. One way or the other, bribes, caps, technology, I don't know. But I believe that was part of it. And somehow they kept a lot of the other Minutemen militias away so that Clint could take over, him being the big traitor, and pretty much kicked them out of Quincy. Now, as I see it, they were being pushed up this way. Because in my eyes, Preston, he's not an idiot. He's a military man. And I think that defeat really hurt him. And he was just being attacked by overwhelming numbers the whole way. And that's why he kept losing people. And this is why he was losing confidence in himself. And besides giving us all the missions, he's losing confidence in himself and started losing men. But like he had no chance. In my eyes, he was just being attacked left and right. But they were slowly pushing him up this way. And then when they got stuck in Concord, now is the time for Father to release us. So he could see how we would react. Are we going to save him? Are we not? Like a morality check. That's how I see this. So just to go back through my theory here, that we know we left the vault, we were under the eyes of the Institute because, well, the Institute let us go. We had Sneak and Deacon watching us. We had Codsworth telling us to go down this way. And like, he can be a companion. This is where it bothers me. But they were pushing you to get dog meat. So he pushes us to get dog meat. We get dog meat. Kellogg leaves here, goes into the town on the side, tells them to attack, to start their attack, because we're on our way down. He doesn't tell them that, but he just, whatever. Mercenaries for hire. Tells them to attack Preston, so Father could see how we're going to react. And that's what kicks the story off, because we kind of have no choice. This whole thing was a setup just to see, in my eyes, the way Father was thinking. Number one, if we could survive and how we would react to the moral quandaries posed to us. Because this game is nothing but morals, really. Every mission in it is something about a moral. And to see if we would be good enough, in his eyes, to be able to take over the Institute upon his death. That's how I see this whole thing. So hopefully some smarter people than me will watch this video and, give me your input. I need the input, because this is really bothering me. But that's how I see this whole story playing out. It was all set up by Father. Every bit. Because he knew he was dying, and he wanted to see if we were good enough to take over the Institute. Because I think he had trust issues with everybody in the Institute himself. And let's face it, he wasn't a very smart guy. And what's growling at me? Something's growling at me here. So I don't even think I got a gun on me. Anyhow, yeah, I'd really enjoy the input and try to get this story more straight in my head. Because I like the story. But when I look at it, and I'm not going to bash on the writers or whatever, because there's some really good side quests. And honestly, I like the settlement building mostly in the game, but I like the game. I love the game. But it seems the main storyline is so simple, and maybe a paragraph or two, and that was it. It's just how it's played out. And the other factions are thrown in there for good measure. And not even starting on the railroad, because there's more moral implications than a lot of people realize. And a lot of it has to do with us going against the Institute. As the sole survivor of Vault 111, being Father's parent. I'll get into that in another video maybe. But this game is mostly about morals. And it doesn't matter. You as the player, even if you're playing for fun, playing an evil side or whatever, if you play this game and I won't say role play as much, but just put yourself into either Nate or Nora's shoes, that you're going to go find your kid, and then you find out where your kid is, but realize all the damage and mayhem that you have caused along the way. This game has no morals. Anyhow, that's my spiel. Let me know what y'all think. I really like to hear the input. Thanks for watching.